Today, we're doing our annual check-in on the cost of a sandwich with one of the direct descendants of the Earl of Sandwich. It's Jimmy John. Forget it. All we could come up with was Len Penzo.
Super happy to see this guy walking down the steps to the card table. Have a seat, man. Len Penzo in the house. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Joe?
Well, I'm doing. Why do I see you now when I get hungry? Like, especially when I know this segment's coming. I'm like, I am starving for a sandwich, and I just ate, Len.
Well, let me tell you something. It's just out of coincidentally, this weekend I was at Subway, and I went in and I ordered the sandwich and some chips, and I got to the counter, and the girl behind the counter, real pretty girl, she asked me. She goes, she looks at me. She goes, "Do you want to go for a drink?" And I was, I looked at her and I was like, well, first off, a very pretty girl, probably late 20s. And I said, I'm very flattered, but, I've been married. I'm an old guy. I've been married 28 years. I'm very happily married to my wife. And so thank you, but no. And she looked at me and she said, I was talking about the meal deal. So.
You're like, no, the chips are enough. But thank you. Like,
yes.
Like I said, thank you.
Just coincidentally, I thought I'd share that with you.
All right. Last year, bologna was our top sandwich. It was number one, peanut butter and jelly and bologna going to blows. So we're going to save this till the end. But does bologna defend its title this year, or is it peanut butter and jelly? But let's start off, because we got a bunch of new stackers, Len, that don't know about the fact that you do this every year. Tell me where this started. How did you get the sandwich survey going?
Yeah, this started way back now. It's hard to believe. 2009, I did my first sandwich survey. I did this because my kids were in school.
Because you were homeless, because you'd lost your house during the
Yes, way back when I was, yes. But I was, I had my kids in school. They were young at the time. And just out of curiosity, I just started my finance blog. When they went to school, they could buy a lunch, and I forget what it was at the time. I think it was $1.50, for a lunch. And I was thinking, well, that's at the time. I was like, that seems kind of high for a lunch. I was like, well, how much would it be if you pack a brown bag lunch? So I decided I would do a survey where I wouldn't just do the traditional peanut butter and jelly. I said, well, what are 10 common sandwiches that people, and not just school kids, but workers, people who go to work, commute and take their lunch to work.
Yeah.
What are 10 different sandwiches that people commonly put into those bags? Let me take a survey of all the price ingredients, and then I will compare that to the price of the school lunch. So at least I'll know, I'm sure it was a school lunch more expensive than a brown bag lunch? And just, hey, by the way, if you're going to work, how much are you saving taking a brown bag rather than going to your local McDonald's or whatever for lunch?
Or Subway and getting a date.
Yeah. So I said, hey, and I was thinking, well, that's a genius idea, Len. Nobody else is doing this kind of thing. So, and I just started this blog. This would be great. And little did I know, and frankly, I mean, to no one's surprise, it turned out that obviously making your own lunch was way cheaper than going to a restaurant or even buying a school lunch. But it's just over the years now. It's been 16 years, and over time, this has really become interesting. This is 16 surveys now, and you really get to see the price fluctuations over time, how that compares. And it's fascinating. And I thought this year's results were extremely fascinating. It totally countered what I thought was going to happen this year.
Well, it's funny how you started off. I mean, when you started off, you were just trying to prove how much money you save.
Yeah.
By taking your lunch. And that's not this has turned into the most fun way for me to look at inflation, Len.
Exactly. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Over years now, that's what this has turned into, really. It's kind of like an inflation tracker. So it's kind of like a little more, you've heard of the Big Mac index. Well, this is Len Penzo's sandwich survey index, which is actually a little more detailed than the Big Mac index, because it takes into account about 20 different ingredients. And it's been the same ingredients. I've used the same methodology over time. And that methodology is I go to the same store. I've been shopping at the same store for all these years, this same grocery store. I buy whatever is cheapest. It has nothing to do with the brand. It has nothing to do with, it's just cheapest by unit cost. So The brand may change. It usually doesn't, because usually it's the store brand that will be the cheapest. But sometimes not. They'll have sales on national brands, and that'll actually become the cheapest item. But everything's been consistent for 16 years. So it's a fascinating look at inflation over the years. So in addition to validating for yourself that, yes, you can save a lot of money by making your own lunches at home.
Well, here's the reason I like this versus the Big Mac. I'm gonna smack the Big Mac index for a second, Len, because I was just reading some interesting stuff about McDonald's, and not just that, about the fast food industry in general, that the price of fast food has continued to go up while the price at the grocery store maybe has moderated. We'll see if we see that in these results or not. But so the Big Mac index might not be what's happening with your family, where what's happening at the grocery store, I feel like, is much closer to what's happening for the average American household, unless you're like this one friend. I have this one friend that goes out for every meal. I think he's going to die by the time he hits like 52.
It's nuts. It's
how
really
can you
nuts.
Go out for every meal?
I don't know. I'm sure, it's not healthy either. I don't think that's very healthy of you to do that.
No, that's what I was talking about. Like the amount of sodium that's got to be in his diet has got to be off the charts.
Oh, yeah. It's just amazing. I mean, like I said, when you go to a grocery store and you put a brown bag lunch, and I mean, even today, you want to pop a banana in there with your peanut butter and jelly, and maybe those little mini bags of chips. And it's still, I mean, it's so much cheaper than going out and buying something at a restaurant, and it's healthier too. So
what is the difference this year? Because I know you track that every year. The average cost of a brown bag lunch or a sandwich versus doing something else.
So of the 10, okay. So if you're looking at, are you talking about the average price of the 10 sandwiches or just the price of a brown bag? The average price of a sandwich this year, what I do is I take the 10 sandwiches and I divide it by the number of sandwiches, which is 10. It's this year it came out at $1.39. Okay. So I don't know if you want me to say what that compared to last year or not, but it's just this is a little surprising. It's actually last year was $1.56.
Wow.
So, yeah. So the prices of the average sandwich this year dropped for the first time in 4 years. Price dropped 11% this year. It might not feel that way, and it probably doesn't, because since 2021, the price of those sandwiches is still 24% higher, okay, than in 2021. So you still feel the pain, even though it's 11% lower than last year. Last year, the average sandwich at $1.56 was 47% higher than the price in 2018. So what it is, you have the sticky effects of inflation. So inflation goes up relatively quicker than it comes down. And your wages, I'm sure, for most people haven't gone up 24% in the last 3 years. Maybe you're lucky and it did, but I don't think most people's wages have gone up 24%. And that's why people still feel kind of miserable when they go to the grocery store. But rest assured, prices have come down from the last year. So, which I was actually surprised.
The average person does want to rock the boat at work, and yet you need a raise to keep up. You have to get a raise to keep up. So you've got to be persistent. You have to understand what the boss is looking for. You have to know how to ask for the raise. It can't be, hey, my peanut butter jelly sandwich price is up a ton, so I need more cash. Although the boss is going to understand that now. The boss will understand that, but I think you got to be a little more creative when you ask for the raise.
Absolutely. And I'm retired now, but in the corporate world, here's what I always did, and it was always successful. All year long, I kept track of what I did that provided value to the company and why they should for the year. And at raise time, I went into the boss and I showed them that list of bullet points, and it was really hard for them to deny me a decent raise because I laid it out on paper all year long. It's hard when a job review comes up, performance review, and you have a couple days to think about, well, why do I, what can I tell my boss? Why am I worth a big raise? If you do it all year long with all your achievements, keep marking them down, you'll have that when the time comes for your performance review. So you should get a better raise, hopefully.
Oh, that's great advice. Did you give them an exact number you wanted, by the way? Did you say, here's what I'm looking for? Or did you let them? No.
I didn't, but I did let them know if I wasn't happy with what I got. So I was like, I wouldn't, I'd be nice about it, but I was like, gosh, that's a little less than I was expecting. But
did they change it? Did they ever change it?
No.
Okay.
but just to be fair, I almost always got a very good raise. So I was very fortunate.
But they might have taken that into account the next year too.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. The 10 sandwiches we have here: peanut butter and jelly, bologna, American cheese, egg salad, ham and Swiss, turkey and Swiss, salami, tuna salad, roast beef and cheddar, and the BLT, the king
my
of
favorite
sandwiches. Yummy. Let's start off with the condiments, and then we'll talk about the actual sandwiches. So there's a few condiments on here that actually went up in price, Len. Tell me where the prices went up.
Okay. Biggest mover this year was the humble tomato. The price of a tomato was up 50%. This year. And the tomato, just to be fair, it is things such as tomatoes that are kind of dependent sometimes on things like whether the weather is not conducive to a good crop or not. That's going to happen. But the price of tomatoes went up 50%. Same thing with eggs. Well, eggs will also fluctuate due to various problems with the chickens and all that. But the price of bologna went up 25%. Salami, dry salami went up 25%. Strawberry jelly, which is my favorite. I always get grief every year from people saying, who puts strawberry jelly on I like grape. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm consistent. Strawberry jelly went up 20% this year. And mayo, the condiment mayo went up 21% this year. So, and cheddar cheese also went up 12% this year.
You had a note about the price of bread really changed this year as well.
Yeah, bread. Now, last year, bread was at its all-time high. It was never high. The price was never higher. Last year, it was $1.99 for a loaf of wheat bread. This year, that price came down to $1.49, so it was a 25% drop. That's still a little high historically. Sometimes it's been as low as $1.09 or 99 cents, but 25%. I mean, it came down 50 cents. So that was a significant drop this year. And of course, being sandwiches, every sandwich has 2 slices of bread. So I think that goes a long ways towards affecting the overall price of all the sandwiches.
Yeah, Kevin, who writes our wonderful 201 newsletter, and I were talking about the fact you and I were going to be talking today. And we were talking about ideas for the 201. We were talking about how when you said 2 slices of bread, I said specifically to Kevin, we got to put in here that open face is bullshit. That's not a sandwich. A sandwich is defined by 2 pieces of bread. Open face is an abomination.
Minimum. And then don't forget the club, which I didn't include a club sandwich, which has 3 slices. 3. Yes.
It isn't really true that club is cheddar lettuce under bacon.
I don't know.
That's not what club really means. I don't think so.
People are CLUB. Oh, yes. I didn't think. Oh, I have no idea.
Cheddar lettuce under bacon.
Oh, very cool. I
don't think that's true. I think somebody thought that was cute and made it up. But anyway,
you're right.
If only there were a place that I could look up this nonsense. If there were a device. But I'm too busy watching cat videos and talking about the price of mayonnaise. By the way,
your cats and my squirrels. So that's right. My squirrel videos.
Speaking of the condiments, though, you talked about the price of bread going down. Some of these condiments also went down by eye-popping numbers. Let's talk condiments.
Okay, well, I think the only 2 condiments, well, I don't know, what do you consider condiment? Mustard didn't move. The price of mustard stayed stable, the exact same price as last year. Like I said, mayo went up 21%. I don't think I have any other condiments. Do you consider peanut butter or jelly a condiment, Joe?
I did, yes. Am I wrong?
Okay. Well, if you did, let's look. Peanut butter didn't move. The price of jelly, as I said, strawberry jam went up 20%. So, which is interesting because for you PB&J fans out there, usually it's a perennial battle between PB&J and bologna for the top spot. And just to be fair, bologna has won the great majority. It's either won the prize for cheapest sandwich or it was tied for the title of cheapest sandwich. So there's a little bit of stress there for PB&J lovers with knowing that the price of jelly went up 20%.
Do you know how people say that's bologna? You're like, that's bologna. That's a heap of bologna. Do you know where that? I found out just a couple of weeks ago, Len, where that phrase came from. Do you know where that comes from?
No, do tell, Joe.
Yes. Well, bologna, as you know, is a processed amalgamation of different meats. And back in the day, and it might be still today, they stuff a bunch of stuff in there that may or may not be meat, right? And so instead of calling someone an out and out liar, someone came up with the cute phrase of saying that's bologna, which means it's processed, it's garbage. It's just full of a bunch of stuff that may or may not be what you're trying to present. Yes. Which is very straightforward.
And I don't care. I love bologna. It's it's historically, and this is always the price of bologna is usually it's a recession indicator. The amount of bologna, it's actually, although the price per pound it's huge, it actually ironically works for, it's more of it is consumed in recessions. So just there's my little fun fact. You've got the CLUB thing, and I've got I've got the bologna. I've got the
yours is real and based on data. Mine is something I heard on a TikTok video.
Yes.
So who knows? I think we'll go with your data, Mr. Engineer. Right. All right. Let's take these in order, countdown wise. Last year, bacon, lettuce, and tomato. I mean, that cost per sandwich is so much different than every other one. I'm assuming that must have been number 10 again this year.
I think it has always been number 10. Let me do a quick check here. I don't think it has ever worked its way out of the bottom slot. I put it in there because it is probably my all-time favorite sandwich. And
you can't eat just one. No,
you can't. I'm looking here. It has never, in 16 years, never been outside the number 10 slot. So yes, it's the perennial number 10. Sometimes it's come close to climbing out of that basement, but it's this year it's still at the bottom. The price did come down this year. It was $5, an all-time high last year. This year it's $4.04.
So there's good news for people that like a BLT.
Oh, and I bring this up every time. Okay, so the price of a BLT is $4.04 this year. The price of a Big Mac, if you just go and pick up a Big Mac, is the average price of a Big Mac this year in 2024, as of June, according to CNN, is $5.29.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. It's still better. It's still far cheaper. You could eat a BLT every day as opposed to a Big Mac and save, $1.25 every day.
And be a little healthier too.
And you'd be a little healthier.
Number 9, last year was tuna salad and tuna cost. I know every year you and I talk, tuna cost, I think it's got to fluctuate more than anything else on the survey, I would think.
Yeah, that's another one. That's up there with the tomatoes. It's with it's up there with the lettuce, the tomato, and the eggs. It's dependent on how the catch is doing out in the oceans, and how the tuna schools are. And so it fluctuates too. The price of tuna actually a couple years ago it doubled. It went up 97% in 1 year.
I remember that.
Yeah. And so the last 2 years, the price of tuna has dropped, not enough to overcome the 97% increase over the past 2 years, but it has dropped significantly. Even though there's other ingredients in the tuna the tuna salad sandwich that caused the price, namely the price of mayo, that caused the price to rise 8% this year. So tuna salad came in 8th place this year.
It came in
9th. 8th. It was number 8 this year instead of 9. Last year it was 9. It moved up a spot, even though the price went up.
Yeah, which is wild. So what took its place in 9th?
Yeah, that was roast beef and cheddar. That actually went to $2.02. It's a weird quirk of how things worked out. But the price of roast beef and cheddar dropped 15%, but it didn't drop. It really wasn't enough to overcome the tuna salad. So even though the price of roast beef and cheddar dropped 15%, it's still more expensive than the tuna salad. And folks, you'll have to come to my website to look into all the dirty details to see exactly why that happened.
You're going to want to head to lenpenzo.com because we are clearly hitting the highlights.
Yeah.
Len goes into a little bit of detail, slight bit of detail. Yeah. Big mover, by the way. You talked about salami. Salami was number 3 last year. The salami's changed a ton.
Yeah. Salami I'll call it reverting to the mean. Now, for a long time, salami was it was in the middle of the pack. And then last year, there was a huge drop in the price of salami. Don't ask me why. Maybe it was just because my store had a super sale on it. I don't know. But this year, it kind of reverted to the mean, and it fell from 3rd place down to 7th place this year, even though the price change of that sandwich dropped 4%. So it's kind of, again, we've got a 4% price drop, but there were other sandwiches that dropped in price even more that pushed salami down to the 7th spot.
Yeah, salami lovers last year rejoiced. There were salami parties in the street. No.
And I just want to be clear. I take the price of what I call the dry salami. That's the high quality salami. That's not you can find the cheap salami. It's almost like bologna that's spiced a little differently. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the true deli salami that's hanging on a rack and the butcher will pull it off and slice it up. Now, this is in packaged form, but it's still that type of salami. It's the hard, dry salami.
Where is salami and Cabernet on here? I don't see it.
Maybe you should start a wine survey.
I should. I totally should. And that's how Joe became an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Number 6 here did not move. One of my favorite sandwiches.
Yeah, besides the BLT, it's the only other one that didn't change positions this year, turkey and Swiss. The price, though, dropped 23%.
Wow.
Yeah. And let's see, what was the cause of that? That was what? Price of Swiss did not budge. So, maybe that's why. Yeah, because the price of Swiss went up so much last year. So,
yeah.
And so Swiss, as a matter of fact, for like 4 years in a row, I don't know why that was. Swiss cheese had been going up pretty steadily. And this year it finally started dropping again, it held steady. So I think that's what it was. So the price of Swiss did not move, and that allowed the turkey and Swiss price to actually overtake some of the ones that fell below it.
Yeah, the price of bread.
And the price of bread too.
Said.
You're right.
So, yeah. Why do you think the price of Swiss went up so much, so many years in a row?
It is the weirdest. It is so weird. Cheese. I survey American, Swiss, and Cheddar, and it's like they never move in lockstep. They always go to the beat of their own drummer. This year, American was down 20%. Swiss, the price of Swiss didn't budge, but cheddar cheese this year is the one that went up. It went up. The price of cheddar went up 12% this year.
Wow.
So yeah, isn't that something?
I think we should make an argument that Swiss cheese is cheaper than the other cheeses, Len, because you're buying a lot of air. I mean, there's less cheese per serving than there is cheddar cheese.
Wouldn't that make it more expensive? Because the price you're getting less cheese for the price. I don't know. Yes.
It is more expensive. That's what I'm saying. We should pay less.
Yes, you should pay less.
Have you seen all the holes in this argument?
By the way, do you know, we're talking about cheese. You know, guitar players, you know what their favorite cheese is? Guitar players? String cheese.
Oh, man.
I'm here all week, folks.
I'm going to lose my job, by the way, doing this because I love all these sandwiches and I just see myself gaining so much weight. Because, I just got a job, Len, as a fitness model.
You did?
I did. Yeah, I'm the before.
That makes two of us.
We're here all week. Wait. Is this thing on?
Be sure to order the BLT, too.
A big mover up, ham and Swiss comes in at number 5. But last year, it was higher up the charts, Len.
Yeah, it was number 7. This year, it came in at number 5. That's almost entirely due to the price of ham, which fell 41% this year. Big mover. Yeah, so you ham lovers, this is your chance to take advantage of the ham and Swiss. Yeah, 91 cents, by the way, for a cost for the ham and Swiss sandwich this year. 91 cents.
At number 4, are you a fan of egg salad?
I love egg salad as long as you don't put mustard in it. I know some people put mustard in it. I don't like mustard.
We call them heathens, Len. Heathens.
I like the unadulterated mayo in there, and you leave it alone. And yes, I love egg salad. Traditionally, one of the cheapest sandwiches. It usually comes in very, very inexpensively. Usually within the top 4. This year, it's sitting. Last year, it fell to number 5. And let me say something about eggs. I also get a lot of comments on my survey. The price of eggs last year were high, and people are like, well, they weren't, the price of eggs wasn't high where I lived. Eggs are very regional, the price of eggs. So that's the one thing in my survey that will probably could differ quite a bit from where you live. It's just eggs tend to be a regional pricing. So it's based on your local farms. And they had some problems with the chickens out here in Southern California last year, which caused the price of eggs to go way up. This year, the price of eggs here dropped 14%, and that helped the price of the egg salad sandwich. Cost per sandwich, 88 cents this year.
Wait, so they had all those issues in Hollywood last year, and they had issues with chickens. The chickens go on strike too?
No, I think, what was it last year? I think it was something called, I know that was supposed to be a joke, Joe, but I think it was something called Newcastle, some disease or something that decimated the egg-laying population.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Number 3 is my favorite sandwich on this list. It was number 4 last year. The reason it's my favorite is because we had a comment in one of the early years that you and I did this recording for your amazing study together. And this woman said that this sandwich was borderline child abuse.
You know what? Look, I don't know. Was she referring to the ones they give at the school, the American cheese sandwich?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I've seen those sandwiches. Yes, that is child abuse. But I'm talking about some nice, decent American cheese. And not just, it doesn't have to be a cold American cheese. That includes grilled cheese. You can grill it up, folks. And
really?
Right? Well, why not? Yeah,
that's what I wanted to tell her.
Yeah, grill it. If you don't, you elevate the sandwich. So yes, the American cheese, it's a very inexpensive sandwich. That being said, it's quite a bit more expensive than the top two on our list, which are the two cheapest sandwiches, but still 72 cents a sandwich. You can't beat it. The price of American cheese this year dropped 20%. So that's a pretty big drop. And so that moved American cheese up from the number 4 to the number 3 slot this year.
This is pretty amazing, Len, because I look at 72 cents for a grilled cheese sandwich and I go, like you just said, what a deal. I think what a flipping deal this is. Yet, when I was, and maybe this is an old guy story, but I never really thought about inflation. And I remember when I was a young financial planner and people were like, you don't think about inflation until it's already occurred. And then you realize your entire life, like it has just been seeping into everything. And all of a sudden you look up and you go, how did that get that price? Like, how is that? So if we would have told your parents, Len, when you were 8 years old that you pay 72 cents for a grilled cheese sandwich, what would your parents have said? They'd be like, are you kidding me? That is highway robbery. Like you're getting ripped off. Well,
we're about the same age. Do you remember being able to buy a candy bar for 15 cents? Do you remember that?
Yeah, 15, 20, and 25.
Yeah, I used to be able to go here. Let's share some old guy stories, some old white guy stories.
Sit back for Grandpa Len and Grandpa Joe, everybody.
I remember going to riding my bike to Thrifty's, which is a drugstore. I don't know if they're everywhere in America, but here in California, there's a Thrifty drugstore. I could get a triple scoop ice cream for 15 cents and a single scoop for a nickel. Back. So, and now I don't know what an ice cream cone costs at those places.
I remember the most expensive place to buy a candy bar was at the bowling alley. And my brother and I would go to this kids bowling league every Saturday morning. My mom just wanted some time off, right? Yeah. So she dropped us off at the bowling alley with a quarter, Len. She dropped us off with a quarter because they had a drinking fountain. And I could buy one candy bar, and it was at a quarter, it was highway robbery. It was so expensive for the candy bar. Yes.
Outrageous.
Then, everybody's like, are you guys going to get back to sandwiches? Yes, we will someday. But just American cheese at 72 cents seems like such a bargain now. And then I go, when did that happen? Okay. Peanut butter and jelly and bologna. As you said, bologna's been on top of this thing over and over and over and over and over.
Of the 16 years, there's only maybe a couple where bologna was not on the top or sharing the top.
Is bologna on top this year?
Bologna came in second this year.
Wow.
Yeah, and PB&J actually overtook bologna again, a very rare event. It's only the third time ever. It's sitting there. PB&J is sitting at the top at 46 cents a sandwich. And just for comparison, I'll go back to 2009 for the prices of those sandwiches. And I'm going to look here. In 2009, a PB&J was 31 cents a sandwich. So now it is 46 cents a sandwich, which is at 15 cents. So it's gone up only 50% in 16 years. Not bad at all, really, if you think about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just look at both of these sandwiches you can buy for 50 cents. You can buy for less than 50 cents. Then you get the super bag of different chip choices, so you can lower your cost of chips. I know how you feel about pre-cut vegetables. Len Penzo, not a fan because the cost of cutting, but you can still buy those pre-cut carrots, the big, huge bag of those pre-cut carrots. And you could have the carrots, you could have the chips, you can have your peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, piece of fruit in there is super cheap. Yeah, you can get out. You can still get out of there, Joe, for like $1.25, for your whole lunch.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
and tap water.
And some nice water. Yeah, a nice glass of ice water. Yep, absolutely. And you're saving a lot. That's saving a lot of money. Just add that up. Even for school lunches, right? If the average price of a school lunch this year, again, it's held steady now for 3 years. It's been $3.50. But if you have a couple kids, that adds up. That's $1,260 for an 180-day school year. If you have two kids, if you give them a brown bag lunch every day versus sending them to school and letting them buy their lunch.
You've got a few great tips here. One is cooking your own ham and turkey and slicing it yourself. Great way to reduce your grocery bill.
Yes. You can, always better than buying the prepackaged stuff. You can buy the whole stuff, the canned stuff, the bigger stuff, or the bulk turkey. And the bulk turkey is delicious. It comes in, you can buy a big chunk of it for like $12. I think it's about a pound of it. And, actually it's more than a pound. It's probably closer to 2 pounds. And it's so much fresher tasting and delicious. Yeah. Highly recommend that.
And then, because we've done this story before, having a garden isn't always economical. Tomatoes, with the high price of tomatoes we've had, Len, that could be a boon.
Yeah. You know what? I used to grow tomatoes all the time, but the squirrels, which is why I have my squirrel camera, and I know everybody. Yes, I've heard of chicken wire. I've heard of it. Please, no more emails. I get it. They figure it out, and they'll steal they've stolen all my tomatoes. And what's really infuriating, they'll take one bite out of the tomato and then throw it on the grass, like to taunt me. And so I just finally gave up on growing my own tomatoes. But when you do grow them, and if the squirrels don't they are so good, so much better than the stuff you get at the store.
Well, and I'll tell you what we do. We do Saturday morning date is no longer, we no longer go as often to the movie theater. We'll still go to the theater from time to time, Len, but we go to the farmer's market together, and I spend the little extra date money because we like just doing the farmer's market together. Yeah. And I buy fresh. I overpay a little bit. They're a little more expensive, but oh my God, the taste difference at the farmer's market.
Oh yeah. Nothing. But farmers markets are so fun. Oh, I love farmers market. There's so much fun and so much good food there. Good, healthy, wholesome food.
Yep. And it's so fun to do on date day. Even if it's just a date by yourself, it's a fantastic time. And then last, and you've preached this before with your other taste test, your ice cream, which you still haven't invited me for the ice cream taste test, but whatever. You can save upwards of 40% by buying one brand over the others.
Yeah. And I've been doing those taste tests since 2009 as well. I think I've done on probably 20 different items. And most of the time, not always, but almost always, these are blind taste tests. The store brand products they're right up there with the national brands. And many times they actually beat out the national brands, and you save 40%. So generally. So incredible. That's the way to do it. Yep.
If only there was a place where we could dive into the whole thing, because we were only able to go through kind of the bones of it. I wish there was a place where this was all in writing, Len, where I could actually go and see all the results myself.
LenPenzo.com, actually, folks. There is. You can, if you come on to my site, you can see all the dirty details. You can see all the individual prices for the ingredients. I also have posted the historic sandwich prices, all for everything from 2009 through 2020. So you can see for yourself just how the prices of sandwiches have moved over the years. So just a lot, and I've also got things like 5-year averages, all kinds of stuff you can dig in and just see for fun. It's just for fun. See how the prices of sandwiches have moved over the years. It's really great. 16 years now. It's a lot of data, and it's really cool. I never thought it would get this, be doing this 16 years, but it's so fun. I'll probably be doing this till the day I die.
Speaking of fun, by the way, I make sure you always read Len's black coffee pieces, because those are always a great time.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Yeah, those are every Saturday. I just take I do a summary of the financial news for the week, and I mix in a bunch of people's tweets on X, and funny ones usually, and lots of memes, and it's just a fun way to hang out on a Saturday morning.
Dude, so great seeing you again, and we'll see you back here in a couple of months, brother.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Joe.